So another this day in history. In this day in history, although it's kind of like unofficial, semi-official. In this day in history, December 11th, 2013, the Covenant of Primus made its official debut. If you were a Amazon Prime order person, though, you got it a day before with a box within a box. And I actually did a heavy review on this book on my Proto Retro channel, and because I ordered it from Amazon, and the way they packaged it was crazy. But this was the first ever printed official release of the quote Bible of the Transformers.
Hmm.
It came in a fancy packaging, in another fancy packaging, and an Autobot packaging that opens up and goes, does the transformation, in an Autobot face, and it came in a crazy packaging. And this, as we read it, we realized that this book was written more to cater to the aligned continuity that was going on at the time in Transformers, which is the Transformers Prime continuity, if you will. And but what would come from this book would later on go on to influence and spawn everything we know today of the original 13. We knew back in the day, before the original 13 was officially forged in this book, we knew of Prima, we knew of Alpha Trion, we knew of Liege Maximo and a few others, but it was the first time that we were introduced to characters like Quintus and Micronus and Alchemist. We knew of an Onyx Prime, but from Beast Wars, this was the first time. Amalgamus, the explanation of how the Megatronus Prime story and Megatronus came about. All of that came from the Covenant of Primus, and the first couple of chapters of this book. If you want to go into a deeper review of this, I'll provide the link in the description of this video, of this segment,
Yeah.
because I go into deep review of this book and everything. But I mean, this book, when it came around, it was a big deal because it was, imagine in Transformers lore, in its actual lore, there is a Bible, there is some form of religious tome or text, and it's always been referenced many times in different forms of fiction, so much so that it was even a physical, tangible book with tape in Beast Wars that Beast Wars Megatron was holding. And he was quoting from it, "I am Alpha and Omega, I am the beginning and the end," and saying how he even took his name from that book.
Hmm.
And we always assumed he took that name from Megatron, as in G1 Megatron,
Yeah.
but we learn years later he actually took Megatronus, so and that we learned that Megatron himself actually took his name from the Covenant, from Megatronus. So very interesting book. Had some great art in it. Casey Collar, who I'm a huge fan of, and Livio, who I'm also a huge fan of, did the art in it, with Kevin Christensen too. So it's a great book, but it's something that people have to keep in mind, that when you read it, it's not made for the overall G1 continuity of Transformers religious lore. This was written for the Prime continuity. So while the first half of the book really stays true to, and could technically work
Yeah.
with most continuities, the second half of the Covenant of Primus really leans more towards what's going on with the Transformers Prime story, and the last couple of chapters straight up lead into the Transformers Prime story.
Oh, okay. I didn't. I
So
didn't know. I didn't know it rolled right into it.
yeah, because there's that heavy implication about Optimus Prime from Transformers Prime being the 13th Prime and all of that stuff. And there's again, it's it the that second half of the book is those early years of the War for Cybertron game,
Hmm.
which was later on tied into Transformers Prime,
Well, what
and
about
that
the?
kind.
There was the book too. No, the novelization of the.
Yes, Exodus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Exodus also. Again, it's all those. There was a time, again, when Transformers Prime came out, it was Hasbro's reaction to how well the movies did,
Mm.
specifically the first and second movie, and the people working at Hasbro, Aaron Archer and all of them, handling Transformers as a serious sci-fi brand,
Yeah.
like a serious deep sci-fi brand that could have novels, that could have, deep series and all kinds of stuff. And Aaron Archer was the guy who started the Transformers Hall of Fame because he felt that even these characters are very important and deserve celebration individually. And so this book was born of that, of that seriousness that the Hasbro brand was really taking Transformers at the time. And between 2007 and about, when this book came out in 2013, there was quite a few novels that came out,
Yeah.
like straight up Transformer novels, not picture books, not comics, just novels. There was, Ghost of Yesterday. There was quite a few of them, not to mention novelizations of the movies. So this was one of those things, and I still feel that it's a must for every Transformer fan because that first half really is the religious beginning of the Transformers, and it's a good read. It really is. The writer Justintina Robson, she would not write anything else for Transformers. She was just known pretty much for this in relation to Transformers, though.
Laying the building blocks, basically. I would
Yeah,
say.
and it's interesting that she was brought in to do this, considering that she had no prior experience with the brand. But she did a pretty good job with it otherwise. And again, I don't know how much of it was her original creations and how much was stuff sourced from Hasbro. I do know that Aaron Archer was very hands-on at the time, so it would not surprise me a lot of if a lot of the original 13 was of Aaron Archer's creation,
Hmm.
specifically the ones that we already knew, but also the ones like Alchemist and Quintus and stuff like that. That's something I probably should ask Aaron Archer next time I talk to him.
But
That's
I mean,
funny
I
that I
think
never.
I think sometimes it's always good to get some like fresh eyes onto something. So maybe this like maybe she's like a really good like sci-fi writer or
Well, according
like
to her
what are,
profile, she did Doctor Who stuff.
okay,
Like,
yeah, well there you go. Done.
yeah, and again, she hails from England,
Okay.
and so Doctor Who seems like to be her go-to kind of thing.
Hmm.
And I guess at the time Doctor Who was kind of hot. IDW was working on a Doctor Who comic. You know how the domino effect of how people, and
Yeah, and where you
she got
work.
the job. And she did a very good job. She did a
Hmm.
very very good job. I was very impressed with the book. I enjoyed it a lot. Again, I have little issues with it not tying to all continuities because that's a lot of us went into it kind of hoping that, because we were told all these years that the original 13 applied to all continuities, but this book was written kind of like that and then kind of goes in another direction in the second half.
Hmm.
But I mean, that first half is a solid read.
But I wouldn't
Very
I wouldn't be surprised if like maybe like later on they would say something to the extent of, well, the original 13 are always there, or the original 12, or yeah, the original 13 are always there, and then and then it's like a separate universe for everything. It kind of just
well,
branches
because
out, like
it
like a
it was an idea.
snowflake. Like you got the snowflake in the center, and then how you got like all the little crystals going out from all different directions from the
Well, the
middle.
original explanation was that every single continuity has the same beginning,
Yeah.
and then you hit a certain point when it's not the primes are no more,
Hmm.
and then it splinters into all the different continuities of G1 and the Unicron trilogy and everything like that.
Yeah.
And it honestly stayed true to that for years, because with stuff like the Galaxy Force, which
Hmm.
is one of the good Unicron trilogy series, is Vector Prime shows up, and he comes from that galaxy hopping, continuity hopping kind of thing,
Right.
where he came from another continuity to like help out because their universe is doomed.
Mm.
They're in trouble. So he's there to help out and stuff, and he's the protector of time and everything, and
Yeah.
he has his sword that's able to give him to cross continuities and to travel and everything. So he was a product of that and was put officially into fiction. And as time progressed, and again, when Aaron Archer left Hasbro, that's something that unfortunately they didn't stay true to. And it's a shame that it isn't the case, but now with the recent Power of the Primes line, at least it shows that this original 13 that was created for the aligned continuity is in this continuity too. So it's at least that's good. That's good at least. Little things were changed here and there. Optimus Prime was the 13th Prime. They've changed the name to the Arisen or the Arisen,
Mhm.
but just so not to call him Optimus Prime, but it's still pretty awesome. And I
Yeah,
mean, there's still
to give that little mystery to it. You don't want to just
well,
be like,
not to
well,
mention
Optimus Prime, boom, done. And it's like,
not to mention there's still murmurs saying that maybe this 13th member isn't Optimus Prime. Maybe the Arisen is Rodimus.
mm,
You know, I've always personally felt that Rodimus has always been more of a reborn kind of Primus thing
hmm
because of how similar their designs are. Where I'm kind of more fine with a character that's DNA genetically linked to Optimus Prime. I don't want it per se to be Optimus Prime,
yeah, because
but
we've
maybe,
had him for so long.
yeah, because then that would literally tie him to the beginning.
Yeah.
But maybe have someone that's directly Cybertronian linked to Optimus, like that's his direct descendant directly, not Prima per se. Prima was the first Matrix holder,
hmm
but the Arisen or the Horizon was who Optimus was
You could
directly
say
connected
I would
to.
have arisen. I would have say arisen.
Arisen, yeah. But yeah, so again, this day in history, very important book came out. It's super cheap now on Amazon. You
Yeah.
could get like I'll check right now for Amazon.com people, um, because I know that this book got really cheap at one point, and let's take a look what it goes for right now. We'll do it live. Yeah, okay. It used to be $100. The special crazy deluxe edition with the transforming packaging and everything,
hmm
you can get it for $42
Oh
now.
my goodness.
Yeah, it's more than 50% off. I think it's even been cheaper than that. So it's a pretty cheap book. And I'm just gonna just check for our Canadian listeners also while we're at it,
Might as
just
well.
to see. Uh, okay, it's same story. I think I actually paid this. It was $128 originally. Now it's $68.
Yeah.
So same thing, huge discount, more than like 50% off. You could pick it up, free shipping. It's a really good book. The book is great. The packaging is spectacular. Has amazing packaging. So it really adds to it. It's something you could hang on the wall, literally. They designed it like that to hang it on the wall. It's that nice. So definitely pick it up. But yeah, Covenant of Primus came out all those years ago, specifically 4 years ago.
Ah.
So 4 years ago, we got a really good, really important Transformer book that
Huh.
now affects our toy line today.
Yeah.
So check it out.